there's different almost personalities, right, to the different courts that are that have been in, let's say, in power throughout history. You shared terms like, the judicial activist court or the originalist court. Can you break down what that is and what kind of court do we have right now?
So the Supreme Court has 9 justices. Right now, we have 6 justices that are considered conservative. We have 3 justices that are considered liberal. And what we mean by conservative or liberal, it doesn't necessarily mean 6 of them are Republicans, 3 of them are Democrats. Although, I mean, just like reading the tea leaves on how folks think, probably, but they're not political, right? They're neutral arbiters of the law. These are all of them are qualified jurists. It's how these folks interpret the law. It's the lens in which they interpret the law. And the 6 justices we have now have conservative lens. And yes, that does align with a lot of what we consider to be conservatism, although we're going to talk about when there is enough checks because they are not political puppets. They seem to have reached their limit recently, which is good. And then you have the 3 other justices who look at cases through a more liberal lens, and that's just their jurisprudence. It's how they interpret the law, how they think the law should be interpreted. So, for instance, liberal justices tend to take current events into account. They're realists. They think the Constitution is a living, breathing document that must adapt to society. That's the concept of like progression. That's where we get progressive. That's why we think liberal. Conservatives, they're very strict. They're like, no, we've traditionalists, we have originalists. We need to be interpreting the text consistent with how it was written by the framers back in the 1700s, essentially. They're also very into statutory interpretation. What do these words mean? What do they mean when we put them together? And then when we put them together, what would they have meant when they were originally written? So you get very different results from people who are just really kind of stuck in time and they really want to stick to the text and what the founders said, and they're pulling up records that were contemporaneous with 1800s legislation. And then you have the people that are like, we're living in 2025 and we don't think the framers meant to be living there. We don't think this is what the Constitution is supposed to be.